If you've been watching this channel, you know we document the slow collapse, the drama cycles, the accountability failures, the algorithm rewarding the wrong people. But today is different. Today we're not just documenting individual incidents. We're connecting the dots into the full picture of where internet culture and society have arrived in 2026. This video covers everything. The Roblox crisis spiraling into suicide attempts and fake death accusations, Nintendo cannibalizing its own community, TikTok movie piracy running unchecked, skibidi toilets, corporate implosion, predators being given platforms by prosecutors and algorithms alike, and a geopolitical situation that could end civilization as we know it. If that sounds like the kind of channel you need right now, subscribe before you forget. Hit the bell. We're not stopping. Chapter 1. When the internet breaks, real people. Let's start with something that should have been the headline of the year but got buried under memes within 48 hours. The Roblox pressure situation. A developer, a real human being who made a game that millions of children play, was subjected to a false accusation campaign so severe, so coordinated, and so relentless that they reached a breaking point. We're talking fabricated screenshots, fake death claims spread across social media, and a pile-on from a community that decided outrage was more fun than verification. The developer publicly expressed suicidal thoughts, and the internet? It moved on to the next drama cycle within days. This is what happens when accountability culture detaches from truth. When the thrill of exposure becomes more important than whether what you're exposing is real. The Roblox pressure situation wasn't justice. It was a mob that got the wrong person and felt nothing about it. And then there's Creekcraft, one of the most prominent Roblox creators alive, who openly stated he considered quitting the platform entirely, not because of a personal scandal, because watching the community he built his career on become, this was too much. He noted that even when Roblox changed the word connections back to friends in response to community pressure, a change that was supposed to signal the platform listening, it felt completely hollow against everything else happening. Here's the truth. When even the optimists start walking away, you've lost something that can't be easily rebuilt. And further upstream, the cost of living crisis is producing real-world consequences too. The warehouse Luigi moment, where workers were documented burning down a facility with the sentiment that the rich have taken everything and left nothing, became a meme. People put Luigi's face on it. They made it funny, because the alternative, actually sitting with the rage and despair driving that act, is too uncomfortable for scroll culture to hold for more than 30 seconds. Chapter 2. Movie piracy is back and nobody is stopping it. Let's talk about something that sounds almost quaint compared to everything else, but is actually a massive indicator of how broken platform enforcement has become. People are streaming entire movies live on TikTok, full films, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, other major theatrical releases, running to audiences of 2,500 viewers simultaneously. This mirrors what's been happening on Twitch for years. Russian language streams running Hollywood films for hundreds of concurrent viewers. Openly, consistently, the platform knows. The rights holders know, and the action taken is sporadic at best. Chapter 3. Nintendo destroying its own community. Nintendo, a company so committed to protecting its intellectual property that it will sue governments, independent developers, and fan projects with equal enthusiasm. We already talked about the Palworld lawsuit and Nintendo losing a major patent. But the Mario Maker 2 situation hits differently, because this time Nintendo isn't fighting outside threats. It's destroying its own community from within. Thousands of user-created levels in Mario Maker 2 have been deleted. not for explicit content, not for copyright violations within the levels, for hashtags. Specifically, levels containing hashtag references to popular creators like DGR were swept in bulk. Years of creative work, levels that had been played, rated, and loved by communities, gone. No appeals, no warning, no meaningful explanation. The creator community responded with open letters, videos, and public statements. DGR himself addressed it. The message from Nintendo was effectively silence, followed by continued deletions. And then there's Pokémon Champions, the new live service Pokémon game that landed like a concrete block. Described broadly as a lazy cash grab, the backlash went nuclear almost immediately. Live service Pokémon, battle passes, seasonal content, real money economy layered onto a franchise built on the promise of catching them all is the clearest possible signal that even Nintendo's most sacred franchise is not immune to the corporate monetization machine that has ground down Fortnite, Battlefield, and every other major IP that got too valuable for its own good. Chapter 4. Roblox is being sued, banned, and burned from every direction. Roblox is simultaneously facing class action lawsuit threats, a Philippines ban that would cut off approximately 10% of its global player base, and a community that has turned its own social media comments into a war zone. The lawsuit angle is legitimate. Users are building legal cases around the removal of classic 2D faces and the forced transition to dynamic heads, arguing that purchased items were altered or removed without consent in ways that constitute a form of scamming. Multiple legal creators have published detailed arguments for why a class action case is viable. This is not fringe anger. This is organized legal strategy from an audience that has genuinely run out of faith in the platform. Meanwhile, Roblox has already been fully banned in over 10 countries: China, Iran, North Korea, Turkey, Russia, and others, with the stated reasons being consistent across all cases: safety concerns, grooming, inadequate moderation, and scam exposure for minors. The Philippines, which represents their third largest player base at roughly 10% of users, threatened a ban with a 96-hour countdown. Roblox ultimately had to negotiate compliance terms just to keep operating there. And what is Roblox doing in response to all of this? Launching a makeup system for avatars, announcing Roblox Plus premium tier changes, posting on X about crystal balls in Threadville. The disconnect between what the platform is communicating and what its community is experiencing is so vast. It has become its own kind of performance art. Creekcraft, the platform's biggest ambassador, got caught in a public meltdown on X, telling a critic to, and I'm directly summarizing here, shut up, and deferring to his own investor status as justification for being right. The king of Roblox content is crashing out on Twitter while his platform faces legal action and international bans. Everything is fine. Chapter 5. Predators, prosecutors, and platforms failing in sync. Gideon confronted a prosecutor on camera who let a predator walk. He sat across from someone whose job is to protect children and asked them directly why a case was dropped. The answer was inadequate. The footage went viral and the prosecutor still has their job. That's where we are. The accountability gap between what the internet documents and what the legal system acts on has never been wider. Gideon and Schlepp are doing investigative work that should be redundant because institutions should be handling it. Instead, they're filming confrontations with prosecutors and getting harassed for it. Meanwhile, a TikToker called Will Touches Grass made flirting with minors part of his content strategy, actually DMing 100 minors and filming the results as entertainment, and his response to being called out was to treat the exposure as a PR opportunity. YouTube's content systems didn't remove him immediately. His audience kept watching. AI gore content has started appearing on TikTok. Algorithmically generated violent imagery, disturbing enough to be flagged immediately by any human reviewer. Circulating through the For You page because automated moderation is not equipped for synthetic content at scale. The tools platforms built for human-created harmful content are not designed for AI-generated harmful content. And the gap between those two realities is currently being exploited in real time. Crunchyroll blocked Japanese users from accessing their own anime. Japan discovered the extent of Western localization changes to their own media and reacted with visible fury. Anime studios are being caught using AI in production pipelines while publicly denying it. Every layer of the content ecosystem is running on some version of the same operating principle. Say one thing publicly, do the other thing quietly, and hope the audience doesn't notice or doesn't care enough to stop paying. Chapter 6. The War, the Zero Point, and what comes next. And then there's the world outside the screen. Trump threatened Iran with a language so extreme it made international headlines. Iran is blocking the Strait of Hormuz and charging $2 million per ship crossing. Israel is not holding the ceasefire. Ukraine is hitting Russian targets with U.S. munitions. Senior U.S. intelligence officials are resigning over the Iran conflict. The Epstein files sit unactioned, while the people named in them remain untouchable. One of Trump's top intelligence advisors resigned specifically over the direction of the Iran situation. That's not a meme. That's not drama content. That's the structure of geopolitical deterrence visibly straining in real time. And the internet is making Fortnite Epstein Island trailer memes. Because what else do you do when the horror is so large it doesn't fit in a content format? Here's the thing though, even in the Zero Point there are flickers. The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 9 finale was confirmed. A new game called Mouse, PI for Hire, dropped in a classic 1930s animation style that is genuinely charming and totally against the trend of everything else releasing right now. Small creative things made by people who still care about what they're making. Drop your answer in the comments. Seriously, I want to know what you think still has the capacity to shock you, because if nothing does anymore, that's its own kind of answer. Subscribe to Fame Fail if you want to keep tracking this with us. This channel exists because enough people believe that documenting the collapse is better than pretending it isn't happening. See you when the next thing breaks, and there will be a next thing.